Hello, this is H. Victoria Hargro Atkerson. I'm an author and a writer, and I write about romance and I write about sexual relationships. A lot of people are not comfortable with that, and I do understand it. In America, we are a lot more puritanical about our behaviors and our attitudes towards sex, but I think even within those relationships where we share ourselves and our bodies and our mentally driven desires, when we share that, we are also learning, and it's a part of our communication system. And I think one of the things that we neglect to do as parents sometimes is to share those experiences with our children as they grow to maturity, because those are the things that they will be expected to do, is to live within a sexual relationships. And I don't know about you guys, but I know I have had some really passionate ones, and especially in my marriage. Those are things that you must learn to do, and to how to keep those passions burning hot is one of the things that we must learn to do. So I appreciate the many cultures and how they teach their children about sex. We don't have that here. We have sex education, but it's watered down. We're not allowed to say certain things about our sexuality. So this is an eye-opening experience, I think, for a lot of people to look at their sexuality and to learn to share that openly with their partners, and what to expect in a relationship. We must know that also. So I write about love, romance, and sex because I think it's very important in our communication process with one another. And I think it's one of the reasons we need to understand about ourselves and how we relate to another person, because it's very important. Some people, I have found, I've done a lot of interviews with couples and with individuals, and that part of their life they don't discuss. And I think it's very sad. And some people just are not in touch with their bodies or their feelings as far as sexuality is concerned. So I write about those things, and hopefully having a teaching moment with people on how to examine that, how to look at those relationships. And in my books, Stones Along the Path, we take a look at the African culture and their attitudes towards sex and their attitudes toward women. We talk about the cultural differences between Americans and Africans, and how their traditions and customs are taught. And I think Africans have a better grasp on sexuality and sexual performance than any other culture. And I guess it's because the culture, the world, the humanity began there. And I think they're much more open and much more informed about sexual relationships and how that affects them on a daily basis. I think their tradition of taking their children away to tell them everything they need to know about being a sexual partner, and to be dedicated to their partners that they are sometimes paired with through arranged marriages. But that information is passed down in a very formal tradition that I think we lack here. So I talk about those things because not only are they're interesting and important, but I think it's all a part of our emotional development. So we can't separate it out because it's a part of us. God would not have created sex and sexual organs if it were not important, people. So take a look at these books, because it talks about a Peace Corps volunteer and a businessman who fall in love, and their cultural differences are what separates them, because she's taught in America a certain way people are to act, and he's taught in Africa how men are supposed to act toward the women that they that they marry and fall in love with. And that whole scenario becomes an explosive device in this relationship, because the cultural differences in these two people is the crust of the story. It is a dynamic part of it, and we take a look at it, we dissect it, we talk about it. Even in raising her children, she acknowledges some of the values that are taught in the African culture as she raised her children, and help them to become whole, respected adults, and how they treat the people that they will have in their relationships. And this sometimes it's at odds with what the father is perpetuating, but Jessica has her own ideas about what sex and sex relationships are and how they should be. At some point, she does concede that the Africans are better skilled at transferring that information, and you'll get that from these two books, part 1 and 2, and hopefully before the end of the year you'll be able to see part 3, and to also see how that relationship explodes, because the topic of their cultural differences is so important in their relationship, and it becomes a character by itself. It's something we all need to examine for ourselves and in our relationships, because this is a part of our lives that is often never discussed, never spoken aloud, and never done in the light. And I think this is the reason that I do this. So take a look at it. I think you'll enjoy it, okay? Now, before you go, I want you to like this program and give us a thumbs up. And then I want you to subscribe to our program and let us know what you think. Look me up on hvictoriahargro@atkerson.com and leave your comments. Let me hear from you. If there's something you'd like me to discuss about my books, I certainly will. And if you have any questions, send them my way. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. And if you are an aspiring writer, give me a call. I may be able to help you out if you get to a point where you get frustrated or stuck on a topic. Just call me. I'm here. I love helping people with their writing exercises and their writing and the development of their skills. So do that for me. If you have a question, if you get stuck, call me. I'm here. Okay. Now, you do me a favor again and love someone special. Then, from me to you, love to you. Take care.